Could there be a psychic mechanism which defends the mind against intolerable memories, as lymph glands do the body against infection? A mechanism of repression which banishes such memories to the unconscious and locks the door.
My mother, she seemed to think I knew everything from age 2. She would ask me, what would you like to eat? I'd only ever had Heinz, that I could remember, Heinz vegetable and beef toddler foods. I went on having that till I was about 7, I remember. You know, on and off, but very frequently, much more frequently than was normal for other children. So we were expected to be like little adults quite early on. So on a good day, anything's possible. You know, when you've had a training to make up your own mind your own business and make up your own mind, that type of instruction, that was it. So like, don't depend on, paddle your own canoe, darling, paddle your own canoe, that was her motto.
Down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
In the cinema we were taken out, we weren't told we were leaving. Can Jane, Paul, Lucy, David come to the reception desk? It's Saturday morning pictures, you know. And there was a removal van. She just moved us. And I was screaming, we're going to the country, this is terrible, we're going to the country. That would be hell at that time. I just thought it was terrible. Anyway, but it was only Roehampton, which is just a bit past Putney. We went there and yeah. And then obviously I thought, well, what's going to happen? Mainly my grandmother Lucy I was more worried about, because she picked me up every day from school. So, I mean, I think I got a lot of, I was very influenced by her, without knowing at that young age, but I just saw her every day, because she'd take me to her house with pastries and but she was with her husband Ernst. And I think they were writing the diaries about Sigmund Freud at that time, so I think I must have absorbed a lot of psychological language, at least heard it, you know, which explains why I'm quite interested in psychology, and I find it pretty accessible, you know. I think that's more my memories and my because she used to come and see us and write amazing letters, you know. Every month there'd be a long letter and send beautiful presents, you know, right up until I left home, really. So she remained in constant contact, yeah. And I remained in contact with her even when I'd left home, and you know, was at college and everything. So that was good. Yeah. I asked her about him, I think quite early on, and she said, oh, I haven't even got his phone number. He won't give it to me. So I can't remember what age that was, but I do remember being quite aware that he kept her at a distance, and she, I don't know, I didn't know if she was bothered or not bothered at the time. I just thought it was odd. Yeah, I asked him about it, and he said she was too intrusive. Even. She could read his mind. She suffocated him. I don't think he used the word suffocated, but it sounded as though he felt suffocated because she was. I was like in shock. I was going, I loved her. I thought she was fantastic. And he was like, oh. So he obviously felt she knew too. She was his mother. She knew too much about what he thought. She knew what he was thinking. This was later. I said, but you've painted from her. But he said, yeah, well, she didn't care anymore then. She didn't care, so it was easy then. Couldn't bear her when she cared too much, but when she stopped caring, of course it was much easier. She just sat in the chair. So obviously he didn't like people who didn't want to be seen, you know, by her. My sister said, he wants you to teach him how to make sculpture. He wants to use wax. And I was like, what? Well, I was like, God asking one of the mortals to, you know, come and play God. It was weird. That was, to me, very thrillingly. I just thought that's the most modest. How can he be that modest? I found that really amazing way to see the world, but it gave me an insight as well into the fact he didn't see himself as important. In those terms, But of course he had a massive ego on another level. You know, everything's got its other side. So he had that other side, but there was an ego as well. He was just himself, like, you know, shockingly him. You know, when people are being themselves and you're a bit shocked, you're used to people a bit standing on ceremony and being a bit careful. But when we worked together, we were like, you know, if I gave him something, brought some materials, I would get past the thing and he would take it and it'd be like a tug of war, you know, like that. Very childish. But then I realised why did I join in the tug of war? I didn't know how to react. Nobody had ever done that since I was 5, you know, or like 6 or something. So we both were like very similar in behaviours, but in a shocking way for me, because I thought I was all right. I thought I wasn't like that. But it's only when you're confronted with it and you react, you realise you're doing the same reaction. I feel guilty about saying it's been the most productive period for me, and because that's all about the morning, I think. So I'm confused because I haven't felt bad. I felt terrible to begin with, like sick in the stomach. And I don't know what that was about. I suppose that's how I don't know. I can't remember when my mum died how I felt, but similar. It lasted maybe a couple of weeks at the most, and then I felt so driven, and I've been feeling like changed a bit. Changed, you know, at the core, for the better, creatively. It's as though I was oppressed. I know it sounds dreadfully damning, but I think I oppressed myself. And I think my father was my greatest motivator and my greatest oppressor at the same time. So what I think is, a part of creativity is actually wanting to feel in that space, wanting to be in that space of being very driven and very at one with the world at the same time. So they're two sort of conflicting states that operate beautifully together.